Number 21. Of the following four types of saving account plans, which option would yield exponential growth of the money in the account? A. Each successive year, 2% of the initial saving is added to the value of the account. Since the initial saving, the amount that you put initially doesn't change, so 2% of that will be always fixed. So this is adding the same value each time, so this becomes a linear function, so A is not right. B, each year 1.5 of the initial saving and $100 added. So same thing, initial saving does not change, so 1.5 of that is fixed amount, and plus 100 is also a fixed amount, so you're adding same amount each time. So that's not an exponential function. C, each successive year 1% of the current value is added. Current value means it's compounded. So first year you add 1% from the initial value. The next year, whatever you got from the first year, you get 1% of the total amount. So this becomes exponential growth. D, $100 added each time, so that's a linear. So it's C. 22, the sum of three numbers is 855. One of the number is X. Is 50% more than sum of the other two numbers. What is the value of X? So we can write a system equation for this. So X plus Y plus Z, all three numbers adds to 855. And X equals to 50% more than the sum of, so it's 1.5. So one is themselves, Y is the sum of Y and Z. But 0.5 is what? 50% added to 100% of them. Right, 50% is 0.5, so that's 1.5 of them. So let's substitute for X. So then we get X equals to, let's see, let me distribute this first. So 1.5Y plus 1.5Z is X. So X equals to 1.5 Y plus 1.5Z plus Y plus Z, these two, equals to 855. So then 1.5 plus Y is 2.5. 1.5Z plus 1Z is 2.5Z, which equals to 855. So then when you take out 2.5, Y plus Z equals to 855. So when you divide by 2.5, you get how much Y plus Z is. So 855 plus 2.5 gives you 342. So what was the question? We are looking for X. And here we just found what Y plus Z is. So X plus Y plus Z, which is 342, right? Y plus Z was 342 is 855. So if you subtract 342 from 855, you can get the amount of X, 513. 23. The angles shown above are acute, and sine of A is equals to cosine of B. So here, you will see a lot of expression when they say sine of an angle is equal to another cosine of another angle. You should just know that if you have a right triangle, and let's say this is A, and this is B, sine of this angle right here, A, equals to cosine of the other non-right angle. So sometimes they write B as 90 minus A because, you know, triangle needs to add up to 180, and if this is 90, then these two got to add up to 90. For example, if this is 30, B must be 60. How did we get that? It's 90 minus A, which is 30, right? And why does this work? If sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse, this over that, and cosine of B now changes this to adjacent over hypotenuse. So you see how it is still short leg over hypotenuse for both of them, so they are equal. it's very helpful to just know this fact or the identity, cofunction identity. A plus B, we know, equals to 90. That means this A plus B must be also 90. So combine like terms, 10K minus 35 equals to 90. Add 35 from both sides. So 10K equals to 125. Divide by 10 to get K equals to 12.5. 24. Mr. Cole has a beaker containing n milliliters of solution to distribute to the student in his chemistry class. If he gives each student 3 milliliters of solution, he will have 5 milliliters left over. So leftover. In order to give student 4 milliliters of solution, he needs additional 21 milliliters. How many students are in the classroom? So let's say the number of student is X. So he has total of N, and when he divides it or gives 3 milliliters to each student, it will be 3 times X. Then the remainder was 5, so you add 5. Same amount of solution. When he gives 4 milliliters to each student, he needs 21 more. So he is short by 21, right? Because they said he needs more. So what would you do when you're looking for X? Since they're both set up for N's, you can set these two equal to each other because they're both N's. Then you can solve for X. So move smaller X's to keep the X positive. And add 21 to move it to the other side. So I get 4x minus 3x is X. And I get 26. So X is 26. D. 25. A grain silo is built for 2 right circular cones. Here's one cone and the other, top and bottom. And there is a cylinder in the middle. So of the following, which is closest to the volume of the grain silo in cubic feet. So make sure the units are matching. And you can find the formula on the front of each section for volume, but you should already know how to find the volume of the cylinder and cone. So the cylinder will be base times height, which will be base, area of the base is big B. So it's a circle, pi r squared, radius is 5 squared times height, 10. And you add it with 2 cones, right? So here is the area of a cylinder, and now you have 2 cones. So it is 2 times, again, base, area of the base times height, but cone or pyramid, you have to divide by 3, right? Don't forget to divide by 3. So it's 2 times base is same thing, pi r squared, r is 5, times height, which is now 5, same height, 5, and you divide by 3. So your value will be sum of those two. So let me just go ahead and add these two on the calculator. So I get pi 5 squared times 10. Press enter. Plus, try to divide steps as much as you can to reduce the number of chance to making mistakes. Plus 2 pi 5 squared times 5, which was 5 cubed, divide by 1047.2. So D is your answer. 26. In the xy plane, the line determined by the point 2, k and k, 32 passes through the origin. Which of the following could be the value of k? All right. So it has to go through the origin. And we want to, so either 2, k, where it is, let's say here, or k, 32, let's say it was here. They're both going through the origin, so they have to have a same slope, which is rise over run because it's the same line. It's on the same line. So rise over run from 0 can be written as k over 2, right? If this is 2 comma k, let's suppose it's k rise over 2 should equal to same slope, which is k comma 32, but the rise will be 32 over k, right? Run. So you set k over 2 equals to 32 over k. So cross multiply, you 64. 32 times 3 is 64. K times k is k squared. So when you square root both sides, k equals to 8. Yeah, there will be lots of questions with slope. So make sure you know how to find the slope of a line when they're giving you 2 points to find the slope, or you know what slope means in y equals mx plus b. 27. A rectangle was altered by increasing its length by 10% and decreasing its width by p%. If these alterations decrease the area of the rectangle by 12%, what is the value of p? So here, the length was increased by 10%. So let's say we had, so for this type of question, it's easier to just use a number. Let's say it was 1 and 1. If it's a square, it's still a rectangle. Now it's increased by 10%. So that means what? Now it is 1.1. And p, I don't know what p is, so let me just call this x. So whatever the difference is will be p, because it's asking how much it decreased by, right? And it says, so here the area is 1, and here the area is 1.1x length times width. And it says the area decreased by 12%, that means if you decrease by 12%, meaning if you multiply by what? Decrease by 12% is now 0.88, right? Decrease by 12% means now it is 88% of the original. So you can say 1 times 0.88 equals to 1.1x. So what would you do? Divide by 1.1 to solve for x. So 0.88 divided by 0.11 must be 0.88 divided by 0.11. Solve for x is 8. So 8 equals to x. 1.1. 0.88 divided by 1.1, not 0.11, right? So then you get x equals to 0.81. So the question is again, this is now 0.81. How much did what percent did it decrease to make it 0.81? So it's almost 20%. So C, right? From 1 to 0.8, 0.2 decrease, so it means 20% got decreased. Yeah, plug in numbers. 28. In planning maintenance for a city's infrastructure, a civil engineer estimated that starting from the present, the population of city will decrease by 10% every 20 years. Every 20 years, not every year. So in 20 years, it will decrease by 10%, meaning, so in 20 years, it will decrease 10% one time, right? So whenever you have a question like this, it's t divided by every number of years. So for this case, it's 20, and the initial value, let's say p times 1. Here it's decreased, so minus the percentage. So 10% is 0.1, so it will be p times 0.9, raise it to t over 20. If it was every year, then it will be just by t, right? But in 20 years, it will decrease by 1, so 20 divided by 2 will make it 1. So it has to be e. 29. The complete table above summarizes the number of left-handed student and right-handed student by gender for 8th grade student in the middle school, where there are 5 times as many right-handed female students as there are left-handed female students. So let's say there are 5 times for female students. If it's X, there are 5 more, right? 5 times than the left-handed or right-handed students. So I'll write 5X there. And there are 9 times as many right-handed male students as there are left-handed male students. So if this is Y, can be X to be a different variable. Now it's 9 times Y. That's interesting. If there is a total of 80 left-handed students here and 122 right-handed students in the school, which of the following is the closest to the probability that the right-handed student selected at a random is female? So right-handed here, right-handed. So we are basically looking for right-handed, which will be 5X plus 9Y out of, no, it's a female, so female will be 5X, so it's asking for 5X out of only right-handed, so 122. So we gotta find what my X is, or 5X is. So by looking at this, you know X plus Y equals to 18. And by looking at this column, 5X plus 9Y equals to 122. So you just gotta solve the system of equation. I'll go ahead and multiply this whole thing by 5 so I can easily get rid of 5X. Solving system of equation by linearization or elimination. So it's 5X plus 5Y equals to 90. 18 times 5, 90, right? So you multiply by 5 to all these 3, so there's exact same thing. So now once I have it, I'm going to subtract to get rid of the x's. 9y minus 5y is 4y, and 122 minus 90 is 32. So y is 8. That's not what we're looking for. You have to plug it in to find the x. So if y is 8, then what plus 8 makes it 18? 10. So then 10 times 5 is 50. 8 times 9 is 72, which adds up to 122, and that way we can check our work. So what is 5x? It's 50 over 122. So 50 divided by 122 equals to 22.41. And you round, right? So it is 8. So in the equation above, B and C are constant, and so just a number. B equals to C minus half. So that means B minus C is negative 1/2. Which one is the following? So let's go ahead and, you have two equations. Let's go ahead and subtract this. Then we get B minus C here, which is 1/2. So maybe we can plug it in to see the relationship between x and y. So 3x minus 3y. And B minus C is negative 1/2, right? Equals to 5x minus 5y. Negative 7 minus negative 7 is negative 7 plus 7, so they cancel out. So now, right? X in terms of y. So let me move positive 3, smaller x. So negative 3y minus 1/2 equals to 2x minus 5y. Add 5y to solve for x. I get 2x equals to 2y minus 1/2. Solve for x, you divide by 2. So you get y minus 1/4 equals to x. So x equals to y minus 1/4, so it is 8. 31. Ticket for a school talent show costs $2 for students and $3 for adults. If Chris spent at least 11 but no more than $14 on X student tickets and one adult ticket, what is the one possible value of X? So it's X, 2X, and one adult ticket, which must be total cost of 11, and it has to be spent at least 11. No. So the adults was $3, not $11. So this is 3. And what is one possible value? That means you can have more than one possible answer. So let's say no more than 14 and at least 11, so you can count it as 11. So if you have total of $11 and you spend $3 for one adult and you have $8 left, then how many students ticket can you buy? It's $2 for each ticket, so you can get 4. And I'm sure you can get 5 too, but 4 can be one of the answer. And you're done. 32. Ages of the first 12 United States presidents at the beginning of their term in office are given. The table above lists the age of first 12 presidents when they begin their term in office. Okay. According to the table, what was the mean at? So, what was the mean age in years of the president? Mean means what? Mean means the average. So how do you find it? It's total number or total amount divided by number of people, right? So there are 12, so you divide by 12 and you add them all. There, 57. So it's just a matter of whether you make mistake putting into a calculator or not. So please be careful when you put these answers or these numbers into a calculator. And if you have time, try again to double check your answer. And please never divide by, see, I already made a mistake. Hmm. 68, 51, 50 plus 65. Press enter first. Never divide by 12 at the end. Divide it first and divide by 12 gives me 58.58. So what's the question? Round your answer to the nearest tenth. So from the second decimal, I write it 58.6 because 8 is greater than 5. You round it up to 6. 33. In the expression above is rewritten in form of quadratic trinomial where A, B, C are constant number. What is the value of P? So we're looking for P. So whenever you have negative, please be careful and change the signs. So here I get negative 2x squared, and you multiply these two, plus 4x plus 2. So now you combine like terms, but we are looking for the coefficient of x. So 4x plus 5x is 9x. So coefficient of x will be 9. 34. In circle with center O, center angle AOB has a measure of 5 pi over 4 radian. So here is O, so AOB has 5 pi over 4. The area of the sector formed by a center angle is what fraction of the area of a circle? So basically, you're looking for the fraction ratio of this out of whole thing. So what is the whole circle out of? 2 pi, 360. Pi is 180. And 2 pi is the whole circle, 360. So you're just looking for this ratio. So,
Ms. Jen, please come to the main office. Ms. Jen, please come to the main office.
So 5 pi divided by 4 divided by 2. So it's 5 pi over 4 divided by 2 is 1 over 2 pi. So pi's are gone. I have 5 over 4 times 2 is 8. 5/8 is your answer. 35. An online store receives a customer satisfaction rating between 0 to 100 inclusive. In the first 10 ratings, the store received the average of 75. What is the least value the store can receive for the 11th rating and still be able to have an average of at least 85 for the first 20 ratings? So we like to have a total of 20, and it has to be at least, meaning 85, so it has to be greater or equal to 85. So the first 10 had an average of 75, right? First 10 had a rating average of 75, meaning when you add them up, it's 10 times 75, so you get 750 total. And we are looking for the 11th. And to get the least, meaning if the other number had the most rating, right? So what's the greatest, the maximum rating you can give? 100 for next 9. So here's the first 10, and here's the 11th, and here's the 9 of them, and let's say they gave the best rating. So because we are looking for the smallest number here. So will be what? 100 times 9 is 900. So you just got to solve for x. So 750 plus 900, which is 1650 plus x, greater or equal to, let's multiply by 20 on both sides, get rid of 20. So 85 times 20, I get 1700. So when you move 1650, I get x must be greater or equal to 50. So your answer can be at least 50. 36. The inequalities are given in xy plane. If a point with coordinate AB lies in the solution set of the system of inequality above, what is the maximum possible value of B? So for this one, it's best to graph it. We can use a calculator. So in general, here it's slope of 5 minus step of 0. So it looks like this. And it has to be less than or equal to, it's this way, below, should be 0. And here's negative slope, and you start from, let's say, 3,000, and it has a steeper slope, and it has to be, again, less than or greater. So the region that we are looking at for the solution is the overlap region, which is this. So at this point, we are looking for the highest B, which is your y. So we are just looking for B of this highest point, which is this point right here. So how do you find it? If I were you, I'll just pull into the calculator and find the intersection. So negative 15x plus 3,000. Yeah, I tend to put extra number on this. And 5x. So you have to set up a window. So x probably, I don't know. So here's 3,000 decreasing. Maybe, I don't know, if it doesn't work, you can change it, but let's just put 500. It's better to be bigger than small to save time, because you can still see it if it's too big. And y next, it has to be less than 3,000, but let me just put 3,000. Again, if it doesn't work, you can, oh, see? So I found here, so I'm looking for the highest y, which is at that intersection. So second trace, number 5 intersection, you press enter from the first line, second line, and enter. So it is 750. My y is 750. X is 150, but they're looking for B, which is y, 750. So 37. If shopper enters the store at the average rate of R shoppers per minute and each stays in the store for the average time of T, the average number of shoppers in the store and at any one time is given by the formula N equals to RT. So average rate.
Kusanti, Calamari, please come to the office. Kusanti, Calamari, please come to the office.
So the owner of the Good Deals store estimates that during business hours, an average of 3 shoppers per minute entered the store, and each of them stayed average of 15 minutes. So then you multiply these two to get the average, what is it? The average number of shoppers in the store. Okay, so 737. Little slow can be applied to any part of the store, such as a particular department or the checkout line. The store owner determines that during business hour, approximately 84 shoppers per hour, not per minute, per hour, make a purchase, and each of them shoppers spend an average of 5 minutes in the checkout line. At any time during business hour, about how many shoppers on average are waiting in the checkout line. So first of all, if it's 84 in hours, so if you want to make it in minutes, you have to divide by hour to get rid of the hour, and you have to multiply by 60 minutes, right? But actually, you're not just converting it. So 84 per hour means each minute, there's 60 minutes an hour. So there were about that many. And what do? You multiply by 5, right? You just multiply these two together to get the average number of people at the store. So 84 times 5 divided by 60 is 7. So about 7 people average in minutes. Last question. The owner of the Good Deal store opens new store across town. For the new store, the owner estimates that during business hours, an average of 90 shoppers per hour, 90 shoppers per hour entered the store, and each of them stayed at average of 12 minutes. The average number of shoppers in the new store at any time is what percentage less than the average number of the shoppers in the original store at any time. So remember, there was 45 shoppers in the store at any time. And here we get 90 shoppers per hour, so you have to divide by 60 minutes to make it per minute. And the average time was 12. So 90 divided by 60 times 12 is 18. So, and remember, there were 45 shoppers, right? In the original store. So you do 45 minus 18, the difference, which is 27. But we are looking for the percentage, so it's 27 out of what? 45. So what's 27 out of 45? It's 0.6, which is, and they want you to write in percentage, so it is 60. Your answer is 60.